not, which was the fourth story in the line. In fact, the Dalek story was only saved at the last minute when the Americans came over to get the rights to show Doctor Who. One of the things that happened was the guy was in the office with the story of the episode, and there's a stack for the burn bin. There's a Dalek story in the burn bin. It's the original Dalek story. The person looking at it goes, "Can I have that?" "Sure, you can have it. We're going to throw it away anyways." That's the only reason why it exists. It's one of the few that got saved. The reason why Invasion exists is they thought it was Invasion of the Dinosaurs from John Pertwee. And the rules are you don't burn stuff for 5 or 6 years. Well, at the time, this was 3 years after they'd shown that episode. So that's the only reason why most of it survived. Because the BBC, and most people don't realize this, is the BBC until Castrovalva never aired a Doctor Who episode twice. They were shown once. The rules when stuff went out to the foreign country, to the distribution, is we don't want them back. So because Tom Baker had run for so long, they reran the only episodes only run twice. There's only a few episodes that run twice. The first one that ran twice was on Rescue Channel because it was a way to break people from Tom Baker. Because Tom Baker had become synonymous with the Doctor.
That's why I grew up watching it.
Yeah, I mean, did he choose to leave or did they choose to see him leave?
He chose to leave. He was terrified of what he felt was going to happen to him.
I guess.
He was Tom Baker at the time was extremely vain. If you've seen some of his other work, you can tell. And he was totally terrified he would become typecast as a Doctor, and that's all he would ever be able to do. Because that's actually what happened to Pertwee, as well as to Trout and some of the others. That they did not, because the series was created to give William Hartnell a job at the end of his just before retirement. That was the reason the series was created. He was a great actor. The funny part about Troughton, which demonstrates the real acting talent of his companions, is Hartnell couldn't remember his lines. So he'd change them. So he'd cut through pages of dialogue, he'd change the storyline. So when you pick up the books and they talk about the novelized stories, they're different because they followed the script. And Hartnell didn't, so he'd cut whole pages of dialogue out. I mean, there's the famous scene, which is now lost, although there's still a couple of snapshots, a telesnap of it. During the Dalek Master Plan, he reaches to the table, one of the Victorian tables, takes a wine glass off of it, and makes a toast to Father Christmas. That's not in the script. He just felt like doing it, and he did it. And it stayed in the final episode, because most of their stuff was one or two, according to the people, the interviews I've listened to from the cast, they had a week to prep. 2 weeks they were airing it. So there wasn't time to reshoot almost anything. And some of the outtakes, some of the stuff that sort of stays in the episodes are hilarious. Watch the chase sometime and keep an eye on Vicky. Let's just say that there needed to be a bathroom break a little sooner. There's also in the Web Planet, the insects walk into the camera, what, 4 times?
I think something like that, yeah.
What do the guy walk straight into it? I mean, it's, mic and all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to take up the whole panel. Anybody else want to say anything?
Yeah, I was one of the ones that, in some ways, I was really upset about when they canceled it during Sylvester McCoy's reign, because during Sylvester McCoy's run, they went back and dealt with a whole lot of storylines from much earlier. And you got a whole lot of stuff going, hey, wait a minute, as he was throwing very much back to the original and to Trout. Because you got the deals of, with little slips that you would get occasionally, you've got a little more about the history of the Doctor himself in those. Little things like, there were occasional slips that always said that he was older than he always claimed to be. When there's one episode where he's talking about Rassilon and the creation of time travel, and he makes the comment, yeah, we had a little trouble with that. And it's like, okay. And when he went back and knowing stuff he's not supposed to know. I remember It's the Daleks, like I said, is one of my favorite episodes of Sylvester McCoy, because he's sitting there, he gets there, and he literally goes back and deals with stuff that his previous incarnations handled. And you got throwbacks to Omega, you got throwbacks to the Daleks showing up, you got the day of, when they left for Unearthly Child. They actually also had a little tribute with it with the, starting tonight, the new science fiction show, Doctor, as he clicks the button off on the TV.
After they walk out the room.
Oh, yeah.
It comes on Ace is bored and watching TV. She leaves the TV on, and as they're leaving, the original pilot comes up.
Advertising, yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few tributes in that episode. There's scattered here and there. One of the things that went on during the Sylvester McCoy era was Nathan Turner was desperate to try and save the series. So what he was trying to do was, by that time, the Doctor stories had been pretty much locked down. The Daleks were no longer a threat. Cybermen were all but gone. And so most of the big villains, you got nothing left. Mm-hmm. So one of the things they were trying to do was put the mystery back, because the previous writers had pretty much emasculated everything. So by the time we get to his era, where's the mystery anymore? You pretty much know how this is all going to go out at the end.
You can only do it for so long, to be quite honest. Until you've done everything.
Well, one of the deals was in the storyline for the Trial of the Time Lords, which was his trial, and where they went in and did all this stuff. And you find out at the end of that one that the prosecutor is the final incarnation of the Doctor. And what's his reward for getting the Doctor executed? He gets all his remaining regenerations.
Yeah, that's the Valyard.
And the Valyard is definitely the Doctor gone, I am an evil bastard now.
Yes, I am the master at this point. But yeah, that was one of the big changes. I mean, what most people don't realize was Hercules was a reboot. They were about to cancel it then, at the end of the Troughton run, because they weren't getting the viewership they wanted. Troughton had said he was looking to leave, and when he was going to leave, Fraser Hines was going with him. He and Fraser Hines were good friends, and they were friends also with Wendy Padbury too. Wendy didn't realize that Troughton and Hines had made an ultimatum to BBC a year earlier that either come up with something bigger for us to do, or we're out of here in a year. So they didn't have anything, and because the Doctor Who series, because it had been putting so little money into it at that point, that's why it was all in black and white, even up until 1970. They said, okay, fine, you don't want to do this anymore, you're out. And because we need to reset the series anyways. So that's why you have the hard break at that point, is that they were going to reshoot it, and that's when you get the 70s color effects and everything else that you get. Because some pretty hard 70s concepts deployed in Hercules era, because they were trying to reboot.
Which is also why you got him stranded during most of it as well. I mean, during a large part of his run. Is you're stuck on Earth. You're not going anywhere unless we tell you to. Because and the way they did that was at the end of War Machines, they said, you have meddled too much. You're grounded.
Yeah, but the goal behind that was they wanted to move it more towards an action-adventure series. The special effects team, the action group, had gotten a pretty strong voice, and they wanted to be more involved, and they wanted to save, the BBC wanted to save a little money, so it's a little less expensive to not have to refit the rock quarry to something else. And let's face it, about a third of the Doctor Who episodes occur in the rock quarry.
You know? I never thought of that.
I was going to say, until you said that, I didn't ever pay attention.
Yeah, most of it, there's a lot of them to do, especially the early ones.
Yes.
That, inevitably we're running around the rock quarry doing something.
The hand of fear is actually admitted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other one that's big on that is the first